Alright, I'm going to try this again and hope the camera doesn't turn itself off. What I'm doing is, I've already started this, so we're in process. This is the Teapot chipboard album from Sawcrafters, and I'm just finishing the edges. I do that before I put the paper on. And the first step I do is I add this gesso. And I make sure the edge is covered. And then I make sure it's coated about maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch back on to the actual bases, if that makes sense. And there's enough usually of when you add it to the edges, enough usually seeps over to both sides that you can just smear it around. You're basically just trying to get a nice base coat for the paint to stick to. I know a lot of people skip the gesso, but I find I have to use less paint. Alright. This is probably duller than dirt for a lot of you, but I've been asked how I finish the edges, and since I'm working on this anyway, I figured, you know, I'd show how I do this. See there, I didn't get far enough back. Really doesn't matter how far you get as long as you've covered some of it, because we're going to cover the sides with paper. Alright. And you don't have to be perfect. It's all going to be, most of it's going to be hidden anyway. But you do want the edge to be covered, the very edge part on the side. And then the rest you just kind of smear around here. And I do the inside part here, just like that. And inside here. Oh, my stomach's growling. I hope y'all don't hear that. I guess I could blame it on the cat because he's sitting right behind me, but I don't think he'd appreciate me blaming my stomach noises on him, but goodness. Alright. So that's pretty much what I do for a base coat. And I just try not to leave any big piles of paint anywhere. But then I'll let that sit somewhere and dry. Alright? I'm going to let it stand up here. Alright, that paintbrush can go in there. Now, I have misplaced, oh, it's right here in front of me. I'm going to use this Lumiere Bright Gold. And I got this at AC Moore when they were closing here. Probably should have shook it. Looks like it's, the top is kind of goopy. I should have cleaned it between here and there, but oh well. I'll give it a good shake. Alright. There we go. That looks a little better. Oh, goodness. Alright. So here's one that I did earlier. Now this, I switched to a little bit smaller brush because this paint is kind of pricey. But I do the same thing. Go around the edge. We might have a cat jump up in the middle of the screen. He's sniffing around. And then I just knock down the high spot on the side. Okay. Now this I do put a second coat of. So we're just going to get a quick single coat on here. I'm just kind of globbing it on. Nothing fancy. No fancy technique or tools or any of that. I'm just mushing it on here. Lots of technical terms there. I hope you caught them. And I'm basically just getting a quick single layer thin coat of paint on here. I'm just mushing it around. Something I meant to do before I did this is I meant to buy some more glue. So we are going to go with what I have on hand. I like the Scotch Quick Dry best, but if I have to, I will revert back to regular old good old tacky glue to attach the paper. And I'm hoping you guys are seeing this, because I am just not looking in the camera. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to put another coat on it. I'm not going to do every single page with you guys, but I will do each step on one page. I've set it up to where I can do that. And I will not go over the decorating the each pages. I figure that's kind of a individual person's way of doing. I might decorate a page quite differently than somebody else, and I don't want people thinking, you know, the way I'm doing stuff is the only way or the right way, because there's no such thing as the right way. There's your way, right? Every problem has more than one solution, and that goes with everybody does things differently. Doesn't mean somebody's right and somebody's wrong. It just means they do it different. Get so fed up with people going, oh, there's only one way to do it. There's not. Just think about it. If you're going down the road and you take a turn, and the person next to you just keeps going straight, you're both going to the same place, you both end up there, but how did you end up there but go in a different direction? Okay? It's enough said. Some of us just like to take the scenic route. So that's a single layer, and I just kind of prop that up against the other. Alright, and this is a single layer on another one, and it's dry, so we can put one more layer. And what I'll end up having to do is go back after I get done taping this and finish that other page. And if the camera cuts out on me again, I hope it won't, I might have to do a separate one for the next step. Oh, my bicycle bell just went on my phone. That means somebody's looking for me, texting me. They're just going to have to wait. It's probably just my son asking, what's for lunch? And I'll tell him, whatever you fix. Of course, it could be work saying, can you come in at such and such instead of 5? They do that sometimes. It all depends on if somebody's going to show up. That's all right. I've worked retail long enough to know how things go. But you see, the second coat really gives it a nice finish. And Lumiere paint's good at covering, but I want it to look like a gilded edge on here. I want it to be nice and smooth. I won't, when it comes to the very end, when I'm putting the paper on and stuff, and I use the emery board to smooth the edges, it might knock a little of this gold off, but that'll make it look more vintage and old, and that's fine with me. That's kind of, you know, I want an aged look to this. Got a little bit too much paint going on here. We'll just move some of it up. Okay. Oh, I hear a blue jay outside. We really don't hear much out of blue jays in the summer here. They're more of a winter bird for us. So I'm wondering what that means. It's only the end of August, and we usually don't get winter weather until after Christmas. And then we generally get ice storms. Very rarely do we get snow here in South Carolina. So I'm wondering what this weather's going to do this year, because we've had some more fall-like weather the last couple weeks. I mean, yesterday was hot when we were working on the shed. Oh man, that was hot, but it wasn't 114 or anything like that. There we go. Oh, I'm probably off from camera again. I pull it up close to me where I can see it, and then I forget I'm filming. Isn't that the way it is sometimes? Now you can also use just, you know, if you want your edge of your album to be a color, I mean, you can paint it. I mean, if you wanted this to be turquoise, you could do turquoise. So your edges would, you know, match whatever's in your paper. You can pull a color out of your paper and use it. I could have used kind of a peachy pink on this, because that's what's on that paper. All right. And that's how I finish the edges. Like that. And we'll set that one up next to this one. If I have to touch up that bottom edge, I will. So now that is ready for the bucket of water. Now, the last thing I wanted to show y'all is how I put the paper on. And I guess we need a piece of paper. Excuse my arm. And here's the paper I'm using. We might just use this piece right here. And I'm only going to show you how I do one side. It's the same, you know, from one side of the paper to the other. I'm not real. Here's another one I've done 2 coats already. I'm going to go to the back side of this. I'm going to put glue over all of it. And I'm trying to use this one up. I wish they still made the caps like this. Hey, Scotch brand, make these caps again. Because I liked them, because you could stand it upside down on your table without needing anything. It's ridiculous how it is now. So I'm trying to use this glue up. So I'll just spread it with my finger. Well, I think that one's about shot anyway, so we'll chunk that one. Here's another one. And this one doesn't have the nice top on it. I keep holding on to that top, trying to use it. Alright, I can probably get enough spread around there now. But I forgot to bring in the paper towels. That's all right. Make do with what I got here. I think I got a couple baby wipes left. And this stuff does get, you know, it sets pretty quick, so I'm trying to hurry here. Well, the battery's decided to work in my stuffed cat. Did you hear him meowing? Tesla's looking at him like, I could beat that thing up, you know. Alright. See, the cap is plugged on this. Whoa. Guess I got enough that time, eh? Alright. I know, it's a mess. It's a mess. It's a goopy mess. I'm just going to pull my paper away. I'll get another piece. Then I'm just going to make sure that the entire surface is on here. I try to line it up with the bottom of the paper. And then I'm just going to squish it down. Alright. Alright, let me see if I can get see if I've got a baby wipe left in here. I'm making a mess. It's alright. I know who made it, that's for sure. Me, myself, and I. Alright. So I'm going to push that all down. I'm going to flip it over. Push like this. Now the fun part. Okay. I'm going to take this Fisker's knife. Make sure I'm still taping. I am. I generally would wait for it to dry. I lay the blade up against the teapot. And because this is chipboard, this knife will cut the chipboard, so you have to be careful. Set it gently against the side of it and then just follow it around. The cat's looking at me like, Mom, who are you talking to? I'm sorry if I bumped that. See there? No, Tessie. No. Are you going to listen like a 2-year-old child? Behave. Oh, there goes my phone. That's my son wanting to know what's for lunch. I'm telling you. It's like he thinks I'm I don't know, for hire cook sometimes. And if you nick it a little bit, don't worry. It'll add character to your little album. This is the most time-consuming part. I mean, painting the edges takes a while, but cutting out a round takes some time. Make sure I'm getting it cut. Yep. Don't knock that over. He's rubbing on the tripod, you guys, so. Yesterday, Scott and I spent the day out in the yard with the 2 dogs, you know, working on that shed. So now he's miffed, and he's upset with us because, you know, the dogs got all that extra attention. There you go. I'll cut that piece out. We'll save that aside because we might can use that for other portions. And what I will do is when I get this finished, I will come back and I will just do a share on the whole album. But I did want to show how I'm doing each page, because like I said, it is kind of time consuming. Now we got to cut out this part of the handle here in the center here. I love this little knife. It's by Fiskars. Guess I ought to keep my pink things out the way. Well, that's Tesla. He just turned over something, thinking he was going to jump up. This is really too high for him. He's 14 years old, and I generally put my chair for my sewing machine over here, but I don't want him up here right now. Okay, so there you go. And what I will do is, I bet I didn't bring one in, I will take just like a nail file and go around all of the edges to get it nice and smooth. I might just push on here a little bit more. Hang on, I'll be right back. I'll go get a thing. Man, you made a mess, cat. Bad cat. He's made a real mess, you guys. Alright. Make sure I'm still recording. Yes, yes. No, no. Yes. Alright. So what we'll do is we'll just do this. And I'm going to do that around the entire edge. And inside the handle. Okay, and after I've done that, I will take some walnut stain and just go like this. Just to give it a little bit more of an aged look, like that. Alright? And that's where I'm going to leave you guys for now. I'm going to show you real quick what the front cover looks like. I just have to be careful because I've got a piece on it. But this is the front cover so far. And that's what, after I've done the paper, and this one I added pearls around the edge. And then this is the second page, and this is the part that's got a piece drying on it. But I will come back and I will do a flip through. I've got some flowers on here that I've made. And I'll share some more in a little bit. Okay, it might take me a while to get finished, but when I get finished with it, I will be back and we will do a flip through on this album so everybody can see the finished product before I mail it off. And Lynn, yes, this is for you, hon. Alright, talk to you later. Bye.